Yo, yo, what's going on, everybody? Watchlist time. Sorry I had to miss yesterday. I was working fairly far away from home, and there was a bad accident. It was blocking a bunch of the highway and stuff, so I did not get home at a reasonable hour. And by the time I would have done this, it would have been basically today, last night. So um, I just decided to leave it. I posted my charts on Twitter. So if you're interested in like a trade review or what I had done yesterday, you can go and check the my tweet out. Um, Kind of building off of that tweet, I had traded this Tesla breakout here through the 1580s. I basically bought it right here into one of these pullbacks, and plan was to swing. I was up nicely up here in pre-market, up over a buck, and broke my plan. Didn't respect risk. Risk was always on prior day's lows. Having Nvidia's earnings after hours today, I didn't know how that would affect the markets. And yeah, so I broke my plan on this and just sold it into random weakness this morning. Same thing with Carvana. I bought this here at like 308, and I was up nicely here on the gap up. And plan was to swing this with risk on like 304, moving risk up each day, kind of trailing that stop, and just sold it randomly this morning at the same time as Tesla swing. So broke my plans on those big picture swings. This one continues higher. Tesla did fail pretty hard into the close, but Nvidia kind of saved the market. SPY pretended to have a red day today, and then in after hours is up massive. So I imagine these swings probably gap and continue higher, and I took myself out of them for no real reason. So those were those ones. Pony, I had started in here with fairly wide risk, looking for a swing idea, risking towards this 18 level, but didn't have a like a hard stop, hard risk. Wanted to see what it would do, and so far it pulled back and held 18. So if this broke 18, I would move on. But so far we've got this nice triple top here in the 21s. So I think if that breaks, I think game on and could get moving. So we'll continue to hold that one. Brog, this trade looked really good this morning. Caught the meat of the move for about 80 cents a share. I had one stop this morning. Basically shorted the next minute after it put in a high a day. Stopped out through highs, and then re-hit the opening range breakdown with risk on high a day, and covered into the flush. I was talking to Kyle into the close because he's done webinars on a setup like this where you get the multi-day moves, and whether they close weak or close below their open, but the daily candle shows that there's bag holders overhead. And this was kind of in that same boat where you get a decent little grind back up into like the 410s to risk like 480, risking 70 cents for the odds of a gap down and red move. It was just kind of a weird trader that the volume didn't come in until the PR and into close yesterday. So the gap up, it was gapping up a lot, but gapping down versus its after hours levels. And once it started to fail pre-market lows, I figured there was enough bag holders up here that it shouldn't reclaim and break prior day's highs. So basically the thesis is that you're getting an early entry on a first red day on a possible gap down based on a bunch of bag holders overhead. I was at work. I was off the desk, but I did have my laptop with me. I could have taken the trade. And just with our conversation, with the PR and the way this was trading volume-wise, it looked a bit weird. So I decided against it, and they put out a delisting press release in after hours, and that would have been a biggie, making about $3 a share in a couple minutes. but ended up missing that one. LVWR, one winner, one winner, and one kind of break-even stop. But it was the same kind of setup where you get multi-day run, overextension, gap up, looking for it to fail to follow through. I let it set its low a day, opening range breakdown, cover into the flush, and then just a random emotional cover. Maybe I was a bit oversized or something, I don't know. But my fingers kind of pushed the button, and there was no reason for the cover. Ended up not going much lower, so would have gotten stopped out anyways. But still, nonetheless, didn't follow the trade plan and ended small green on it. But who cares if you don't follow your plan? Not a big deal. So yeah, Carvana was the big one today. Made about $10 a share on that one. Tesla locked in something, but wasn't crazy. Brog made back plus some of that loss. So decent little green day there. No losers on that front. And I haven't ran scans yet. I was just getting back on desk and figured mix it up this evening and run through kind of the nightly process and run some scans. ASBP, I saw this one running after hours and completely round tripped. So we'll no longer be gapping up, unfortunately. SPRO sideways, SGBX sideways. Brog getting smoked. I don't really have to watch Brog anymore. I still think LVWR will be a decent opportunity for tomorrow. It is kind of fizzling and so far gapping down, but pops using like 4 prior support as resistance as a guide. I think this could retrace and go sub 3. I contemplated this one overnight, the same setup as Brog, where you get a multi-day runner. There's enough bag holders overhead. So I will keep that one on watch for a first red day. SBET, I have no idea what to do with this thing after that news. Fast continues to hold up. Not moving anywhere fast, but SBET third day surge. I don't think so. Most of the range was on the gap up and then was just completely sideways today. I don't really understand why it's up so much. Announces 400 million private placement to initiate Ethereum treasury strategy. I don't really understand why that moved it so much, but so be it. But yeah, I don't see an opportunity in that for me. Carvana I just kept on so I didn't forget to mention it, but I believe that one probably continues higher. BSGM, still keeping this on radar. We're getting the wicks. What would be a trend change is each day it kind of has a slight gap. If we got like a big gap, like a blow-off gap, I think that could mark the top. Kind of like Brog did today, where it's like small, and then a blow-off gap, and then that's the opportunity. I think BSGM could do something like that, whether it's like a pre-market PR or something like that, where it gaps up big and kind of does like a change of its characteristics. NVTS, this could be setting up similar to right here. Holding up a lot better than I would have thought. Highs 753. You've got this little top here, like 690. That topped there. If that were to break and build like 697, it looks like a repeat of this, where it sets its high, sets a lower high once it re-breaks. Nice trend join. So once it sets its high, sets its lower high, re-breaks, could be a trend join. So I think I would prefer this one for like a T+1. It's proven to have worked already. Pops keep getting rejected on this one. CTMX, I was watching this one today because it started getting a bid here into open. Tested and broke the daily breakout level, but never held it. Failed it right away. If that were to re-break that 250, I like that for a long. And now we've got this higher low in the 230s. I was looking for this to break, set a base, re-break this 250s, re-break 250 and then 255 into close. And like the aggressive approach would be buying this pullback, risking low a day, and then once it re-breaks 250, add to that winner and move risk to these 230s. It's typically how I like to add to winners, is moving risk up and up and up. Keeping the same dollar risk, but moving that level up. So keep that one on watch for a breakout as well. SIDA look like it wants to roll through those 430s. Could get hit for like a buck. That little liquidity pocket. It's not trading much volume, only 3 million shares. But could like break 420, go to 320. Not really a high conviction trade. Wow, ASST was nice. Once I had gotten into this, I always have a entry, like a criteria for an entry, and then I have a stop. And exits are always the hardest thing for me and for a lot of traders I talk to, mentors, so to speak. And I got into this. I saw the setup. I got in with proper size risk, and then I'm like, I don't know where to cover this thing. So I covered it into the breakout level, but it continues to fade. It's funny. So, what time do you usually get up to do morning prep? Depends on the day. I got my alarm set on weekdays for 3:51 a.m. And that'll go off, and if I've got overnights, I'll get up and get to the computer and just be ready for like that 7 a.m. Eastern, which is 4 a.m. my time. Because you get a lot of you get offerings or news or stuff that affects your stocks. So I like to be up to look at that if I have overnights. If I don't have overnights and there's not a ton of gappers or stuff that I want to trade pre-market, then I will snooze that and get up at 5, which is 8 o'clock Eastern. Give myself an extra hour. But yeah, typically 5 is the latest for me. And then like that 3:54 a.m. Is the earliest, but anywhere in there. What's your read on PTIX? That thing's gotten too illiquid. It's just like a steady fade. I know a couple guys are looking to buy this thing, but traded 900,000 shares, 500,000 the day before, 600,000, 900,000. Like a 500,000 at $4 is only $2 million. One person can move that. So no, I'm not really interested in it. It's just gotten illiquid. It continues to fade. I think I've mentioned this before, where these kinds of charts, I'm a lot more interested in straight up spikes and then shorting into resistance than I am trying to catch bottoms and bounce them. Don't even need these lines anymore. But yeah, not really a watch for me. So let me I can change my screen over to Finviz, I guess. There we go. And just skim through some of these gainers. Holo, nice move. LVWR we already looked at. There's a little flat top breakout, just no volume. Brog. Would love to short that tomorrow. Woof. What's going on, Jeff? Good to see ya. What was that little runner? SGBX. Kind of gapped up today. Oh, that was that sideways one. It was the gapper. Didn't really do much. You're getting some robotics names getting some attention. Or this one's kind of starting to come out of this little base. Volume starting to come in. And I also see IRBT on scan. More of a real company, but it's getting some attention. So definitely some eyes on the robotics. It's unfortunate, all these sectors, like this stuff is trading so thick, and it's not like there's no small caps. Like the small caps are the gappers, but like during COVID, when you had like MVax and Moderna and Pfizer were like the leaders, but then you had what was it, a something, 3 letters, ALP or something like that. And then you had LAKE, you had CODX. You just got like a bunch of those small caps going with it. And then like when we used to have EVs, you'd get like Tesla moving, and then you'd get Plug and F-Cell, and back when like Lucid and Rivian were like small caps. But it just seems like these companies have gotten so big and just diluted into the ground that their share counts are so high. Ooh. Vivo Power, little breakout on that one. Wow. Straight up, straight down. Not nice price action. There's Plug at 90 cents. LVWR, you can see, keeps coming up on a bunch of scans. When it comes up on multiple of my scans, it's typically a decent setup. See what Holo's up to. I don't know what the story is here. Probably had news. Don't see any. be something. Just a 1-day move on holo from 5 to 10. What else? TFX we already looked at. VVPR. Once I kind of see the dailies on here, I just throw it on DAS and get a look at the intraday, and the charts just look familiar on there. FMST, not really a ton of volume. Well, it could be something. Let's see how it looks intraday. Second. I was just texting Nate T. Sent a message. Okay, back to this FMST. Oh, it's one of those Canada ones. I probably won't be allowed to trade it with Centerpoint. They don't like duly listed names, so I will forget that one. 60 names. These scanners aren't full. Like you can see up here when I pull up each of them, they've got like a total. And none of them have been super full. Like when it's like a busy day, when a lot of stuff is up or a lot of stuff is down, you'll see like 300-400 names. Like the highest I've seen is like 700. When you got like that 12% day on the SPY or whatever it was. But they aren't super full, so there's not a ton. Yeah, getting illiquid now. Last one. Only 30 names. SIDA looks like it wants to roll over. I don't hate that idea. HIMS, this pullback is holding. I could see this one breaking out, looking like, what stock was that? Was it, it went straight up. It was, what was it? know. Thought it started with an S. I can't remember it. But it broke out briefly over like $30 or something, and it looked very similar to Hims. And it ended up double topping and pulling back. Can't remember the ticker. Happened not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. Finger, that one looks like it wants to roll over too. Get this little failed fall through level, lining up with the 20 moving average. With that kind of volume, it probably doesn't trade much intraday. But it looks like it could get hit. I don't know. It's just not like this is the one where I'm like, yes. Not sure. Okay, let me go back to these charts. Here we go. Yeah, like if I zoom out, it looks fairly clean. You got prior resistance that becomes support and once it takes out 350s, but looking intraday, not a ton of range and too much gaps in the chart. I think Livewire's probably a main watch. Hopefully it doesn't gap down too much. This would be like in terms of that waking up in pre-market question. This would be one where I would wake up 7 a.m. or so Eastern, and I would see where this one's gapping. If it's gapping up towards 4, maybe I take a starter and risk towards 450, 460. And then look to add once market opens versus highs a day or something like that. But get a starter just in case, you know, maybe it's early, you get that little flat open to gap, and then by market open it's down at 350, and now it's easier to scale into that winner because you already have some realized. Would be like an example. BSGM, hopefully that one can exhaust one of these days instead of just continue to soak dips. Navitas, I think this could be a T+1 again. Looks like kind of perpetual squeezer. Saida, I think, could get a rollover trade. Looking at that 420 breakdown. 428 was the low, 413, 410. So anywhere in there starts to act as the top. I like this how it acted here, where it comes out, clears out right into highs, runs all the stops, and then just nobody home for the rest of the day. And I know, like, with this Novitis, like, it is extended. But as we said with this news, you've had stuff. Was it Soon or Serve? I can't remember. It was one of them that had the NVIDIA news. It might have been Serve. One of them had news of NVIDIA over there. And it just has some staying power when it used to be like billionaire plays where you'd get like an investor, like when Ackman mentioned that he was long Fannie Mae and long Hertz. It gets moves and holds up and hangs around a bit longer. And those used to move names a bit better and cleaner, but lately it's been companies where if like you've got MicroStrategy or like a Bitcoin investment or it's more than just like one guy. It's like a whole theme thing. So with this one getting connections to NVIDIA, it seemed like good news, and it's proving that price action wise. So this one could be a perpetual squeezer. I know everyone's shorting it, trying to get the pullback, and it's just not happening. What's up, Tina? How's it going? So in terms of watches for tomorrow, probably Livewire, Main Watch, BSGM. I'm keeping on a chart just as a side radar. NVTS possible T+1. CTMX if that can reclaim 250s, and then SIDA maybe that 410 420 rollover. Probably my main few. See which way stuff is gapping. Ideally get some gaps in my favor for some good entries, and trade those and then be on with my day. So I think we can wrap it up there. I don't have a ton else to touch on. I will give it a couple seconds and then we can close it out. But as always, just get in where you fit in and make some memories. It's always the plan. Polo's float's only 4 million, but they've got a ton of convertible notes, lots of cash. They've got lots of cash, but warrants, not a ton of warrants, none at reasonable exercise prices. They got a bunch of convertible notes, but they just don't need cash, so don't know if they're really going to dilute or just let it run a bit before they dilute. Jeff likes the process. Cool, cool. No problem, Jenica. The Master D. I am no master by any means, but I'll take it. No master trader, master baker. Alrighty, guys. I will sign off and see you guys in the next watch list. Take it easy, trade them well, and I'll see you in the room. Peace.